MMA rants and raves. The question: who should get the title shot in the UFC heavyweight division? Cain Velasquez or Junior Dos Santos? Now guys, the best way to answer this question is to look at both fighters from an unbiased perspective. Let's start with Cain Velasquez. Here's a guy, great wrestler, 8-0, undefeated, dominating his opponents. And he's not just doing it with wrestling. I mean, he's got some other skills. I saw a lot of good Muay Thai that he employs. If he gets close to a fighter, if he has trouble taking him down, he goes to some of his other tools. Like I said, the Muay Thai, he can strike. And the other thing about this guy is he has got a chin of steel. And I saw it in the Congo fight. Congo has some knockout power, and he got all of that punch. He blasted him with a nasty knockout caliber punch, and Velasquez just absorbed it, staggered a bit, and just kept him fighting. That's scary, guys. I mean, this guy hasn't even been close to getting knocked out. So he can take it. He can absorb punches, and you got to have that to be a great fighter. You got to have a good chin, and he has definitely got a good chin. Now, let's look at his fights. I like to look at the past 5 fights. That's really a good way to gauge a fighter. Of course, fighters don't fight that often, maybe 3-4 times a year, so it's good to look at the past 5 fights, I would say. Now, his past 5 fights started out with O'Brien, knocked him out first round. Then he faced Dennis Stoyanich, knocked him out second round. Then Chi Congo. This was a tough fight for him. I mean, he dominated the fight, and it went to a decision. He couldn't put Congo away. He must have hit him. I can't even count how many times. I mean, over 100 times. I saw that fight. I couldn't believe what a beating this guy took. And it went to a decision. And, you know, he got some shots in as well. Tough fight. Referee's decision. Third round. And Velasquez got the decision, won the fight. Then he faces Ben Rothwell. Second round KO. Now, it was a bit controversial. I think Mazzagatti stopped it a bit early or whatever it was. I mean, I agree, you know, he was dominating the fight. He probably would have won the fight, but he got the KO and defeated Ben Rothwell. Second round. Then, his biggest test of all, he faces Minotauro Nogueira. And that was the biggest surprise. I didn't think that was going to happen. He knocked Nogueira out. He caught him and just dropped him. I mean, it was a clean knockout. So that was impressive. You know, that was an impressive victory. So he's been very dominant. He's been very dominant, and he is a top-level fighter. Definitely deserves a title shot if you just look at what he's done. Okay, now let's look at Junior Dos Santos. Let's see what he's done in the last 5 fights. He faces Fabricio Werdum. That's a tough fight. I mean, this guy is a top-ranked heavyweight. Knocks him out first round. Devastating. This is no T at the beginning of KO. This was a clean KO. Clean. Knocked him out. He had blood coming down from everywhere. It was like a total destruction. Very impressive. I mean, I didn't even see the punch coming. He just landed it, and Werdum was down. Next, he faces Stefan Struve. Knocks him out. Quick knockout. Clean. First round. Then he faces Mirko Krokop. Verbal submission, third round. That should be a TKO, but I guess verbal submission, he couldn't see in one of his eyes. He got hit so hard. So he defeated Mirko Krokop, who's a legend. Then he faces Gilbert Yvel. Knockout first round. Nasty knockout. Clean knockout. He fell with his eyes open. I mean, it was scary to look at. Then he faces Gabriel Gonzaga, top-ranked heavyweight. Knockout first round. Now, you tell me, guys. This is my opinion. A fighter that comes in with the most momentum, all right, that's dominating their opponents more than the competition who's looking to get the title shot. All right? Doesn't that guy get the title shot? That's the logical way to look at it, as far as from my perspective. Somebody who's coming in with more momentum, That person should get the title shot. Now, if you look at the way Junior Dos Santos has defeated his opponents in the past 5 fights, he has done it with more domination, quicker, and more decisively than Cain Velasquez has done it. Okay? I mean, there's no question about that. It's knockout, knockout. First round, third round verbal submission, knockout, knockout. Cain Velasquez, knockout first round, knockout second round. Congo, decision third round. Stoyanich, knockout second round. O'Brien, knockout first round. Dos Santos has dominated his opponents quicker and knocked them out faster. Okay? Then there's something else to look at here. The opponents that Santos has faced were higher ranked than Velasquez. Werdum and Krokop, Gonzaga are ranked higher than Congo, Stoyanich, O'Brien, and Rothwell. The only guy that Cain Velasquez has faced and defeated that's a very high-ranked fighter is Minotauro Nogueira, because I admit he is, and he deserves a lot of credit for that win, because Nogueira, just defeated Randy Couture. I can't speak highly enough of the fighting ability of Randy the Natural Couture. So Nogueira is definitely, he's a legend in this sport, and I still think he's a great fighter. So he deserves a lot of credit for that. But besides that, all these other fighters are quality fighters, but they're not upper echelon fighters. But you look at Fabricio Werdum, Mirko Krokop, Gabriel Gonzaga. I mean, these guys are ranked higher than those other fighters. Here's another point I want to make. A long time ago, I saw a fight between 2 fighters by the names of Gilbert Yvel and Chi Congo. These guys faced each other. Now, if you're ever looking for a carbon copy of a fighter, these 2 probably have more in common than any other fighter. I mean, they are both typical kickboxers. They're about the same height, weight, size. They look the same. They're exactly the same. They do the same thing. They're kickboxers. Okay? Now, you know who won the fight? Gilbert Yvel. I personally think that Gilbert Yvel is a higher-ranked fighter. Now, this was a while ago. I don't know about now, because now they're back under the same umbrella. These guys have been going their separate ways throughout their fighting career. Now they're back under the same umbrella of the UFC. So who knows, they may even face each other again. But in my opinion, Yvel is a higher-ranked fighter. Yvel did defeat Congo in the fight that they had. Now, if you look at the way Velasquez, all right, faced Congo, it was a tough fight. He couldn't put him away. All right, he couldn't put him away. Very tough fight for him. And then you look at the way Santos defeated Yvel. It was a knockout in seconds. In seconds, he knocked him out. And now you have Velasquez, who must have hit Congo 200 times and couldn't put him away. So, who's more dominant? Well, as far as the striking is concerned, you got to give it to Dos Santos. Has Velasquez improved since then? Probably has. But if you look at Dos Santos, it doesn't matter who he faces. High-ranked, lower-ranked. Whether it's Yvel, whether it's Werdum, Gonzaga, Struve, it's all the same result. It's all knockout, knockout, knockout. This guy is coming in with more momentum. He is destroying his opponents with more momentum than Cain Velasquez. So what does that tell you? If you put all these things together, from an unbiased perspective, you have to give the fighter with higher momentum that title shot. It's as simple as that. Now, I heard that Velasquez is going to get the title shot. That's what I heard. And I just don't agree with it. Now, I think that Velasquez deserves a title shot based on what he's done. But when you have competition out there from somebody who has competed at a higher level, who has defeated fighters, okay, a lot faster and more decisively than the fighters who are of a lower caliber than the guy who's getting the title shot. And that doesn't make sense. Now here's something else, guys. Cain Velasquez is Mexican, okay? And I've heard this, I don't know if it's true, I'm just passing this along because it's interesting to think about. They're trying to bring in the Mexican fan base into the UFC. Because let's face it, Dos Santos is Brazilian. They sure as heck have the Brazilian fan base. I mean, 2 of the champions in the UFC are Brazilian. The guy who just lost his title was Brazilian. And I can't even count how many Brazilian fighters there are in the UFC. So they got the fan base there because they got all the fighters. But if you look at Mexican fighters in the UFC, there's not that many that come to mind that are upper echelon fighters, such as the likes of Cain Velasquez. So if this guy gets a title shot, it's going to get a lot of attention. So it could be a business decision. That's right. And I respect these guys. It's a business. They have a right to do what they want. So if this is swaying their decision, if there's any truth to that, I don't know. It's just something to think about. It's something I've been hearing about, and I just figured I would discuss it. I'd like to know what you guys think about that, and would also like to know what your answer is to the big question. Based on what I said, and based on what you think, if you have any points yourself. Who should get this title shot? Should it be Junior Dos Santos, or should it be Cain Velasquez? Leave your comments and let me know. Please rate this video and subscribe, and thank you for tuning in.